we're doing a demo review today. So what we will have focus on, obviously we will start with a demo review, which we always do on Tuesday. Then we will maybe go in and look at some grenades. Maybe I can teach you guys some stuff. Maybe you can find some new stuff. We are having a simple demo. It's versus S1MPLE'S. It's not his highest rated performance at Pro League so far. So in all maps, Simple had a ridiculously good performance. And if you look at Ancient, for example, he is like top of the board, right? If you look at Nuke, he's playing outrageously well compared to his teammates. Like, he is way overperforming, but they lose the map 16-14. Typical Navi fashion, Simple is getting a P250. If anyone is getting a P250 on this team, it's him, which makes sense because he is damn good, guys. So at the beginning, he's just playing for info, and it's like a sort of default round for both teams. S1MPLE'S were a little bit okay. So now he obviously needs to make something happen with this hero AK. Like, he has the biggest gun, he has the armor, so he needs to try to just entry. This is so scary. There are 3 rifles basically looking at mid, right? There's one long, there's one short under the roof, and there's another guy short. But he still like wins the duel so massively that Config is 14 HP now. And even though he doesn't get the kill exactly, he's still doing so much damage that it pushes Config off the angle. Now he has to play more passive. And now obviously they know that they have AKs, so it's much more difficult basically to find an opening with the AK. Now that they know that there is an AK in play. And now he probably gets someone to swing for him. Oh, maybe not. But S1MPLE'S is definitely stacked up on B. And unfortunately, nothing. So actually, not the greatest of beginnings from Simple. What we're going to be focusing on here on the T side is sort of how dynamic he is. I mean, we saw even just in this round that he was like searching up on A, but then he goes to search up on B, and then like he's not. I feel like sometimes as the mid player, another death actually. And sometimes as the mid player, you can kind of on T side end up just favoring B so much that you like. You don't focus on also getting up mid, basically. And it looks like Simple, he's like a little bit everywhere, which is the way it should be done. And like, remember this is map 3 of the series, so whoever wins this map wins the best of 3, of course. And now he ends up actually kind of playing like entry on Banana. At least inside Banana. It might be spawn based, but he actually gets the opening pick. They did not expect him to be in. He's getting peppered with nades though. And now I wonder what happens if he gets a flash on the wall. That would be a good time for that. And we see, like, I wonder what happens now. Okay, so I wanted to see if he hears someone jumping away, is he gonna just walk and take it? But, you know, there could be 3 there, because they started 3 there, and I think they knew that with all the utility that was thrown, so it makes sense for him not to do it, basically. But yeah, it would have actually, in this case, been the right read. With 10 HP though, it's like, there's no trade potential and you're so low, it's not worth it to risk. And now they completely changed their plan. They take over mid, they want to go A. I want to point out also like how well S1MPLE'S are reading the game. Like they start 3v here, and then Navi gets a kill. Then even though they already have 2B, they rotate an extra man from A to B. So they're 3B, and then after that, because they don't go B, they rotate like all those guys to A basically. So they are almost always stacked on whatever bomb side. I mean, you can say that that's good from S1MPLE'S, but you could also say that is sort of bad from Navi that they keep on running into the stack. It's however you want to look at it. Interesting here is that Simple obviously gets the entry. He's very low on HP, but he is like not using the HP to go in front. He's using the HP to kind of support, I guess. In this case, he just throws a flash. And we're gonna keep seeing that as well. Navi is building the game a lot around like maximizing the potential of Simple. Which makes sense because he is the world's best player, arguably ever. But yeah, it is definitely the case that if someone gets dropped something, it's this guy. And it makes sense. He's good for it. There are very few players where you can trust them as much to get the job done as this guy. And that is a huge find, because now they know NaToSaphiX was the last guy. So if he gets the trade, and he does. That's almost round over in this case. He actually does smoke CT. He wants to take the fight. It's smart, but he actually misses. And now he really gave up the round, basically. I respect him for going for the shot. It's just unfortunate he misses it. They don't have a lot of utility to work with. It looks maybe weird if you don't know why. He's just running up mid here close to the smoke, because it's a common place to nade. What he's trying to do is forcing out utility, so if the CTs are playing close on mid, they will hear someone running up mid and it sounds like someone's getting a flash through. Na'Vi don't have a whole lot to work with, so if they can use the time here to make sound bait and make Astralis use utility that they otherwise wouldn't have, it makes the late round way easier, and they need all utility that they can get out of Astralis. They need it out of Astralis at this moment. So that's why he's sound baiting up towards top mid when the smoke is about to fade. He's hoping someone will hear it and like throw down a Molo or something. I think Farley was not close enough, but he will probably use his utility now. And now they end up in an afterplan, or not afterplan, in like a late round scenario. They have no flashes and 2 smokes, so it's not ideal. And that's why you need Astralis to not have a lot of utility left. Like, the only man who actually has any sort of counter utility right now is Glaive. And that's why Na'Vi is playing this round so slow, because if they go early, they're just running into utility, basically. And again, it's like, I mean, Simple has a deagle here, so he shouldn't be the one, probably. Sort of creating the space. But we see again, it's a system, you know. He's set up to succeed by never going first, basically, or at least rarely. And when he does, it's because he wants to. It's not like a late round with pistols or something. Again here, someone's going in front for him. That's a sick line from Boomich. Now he just needs to trade. And this is like small detail, but Simple actually, instead of just swinging on Boomich here, he waits because his teammate has a Molotov. Then he's waiting for him to come close so that Simple kind of lost timing. And so instead of swinging late and having like a good duel for Sipnix, he's waiting so that at least if he dies now, his teammate will trade him and is still like advantageous situation. Or he knew like that there was a Molo, I'm not sure. But now you see, he actually kills Bit, but the Molo comes in and he kills Sipnix. Whoa, Simple almost died here. So that's really good actually. It shows good composure. It shows also, yeah, that he is like sort of very focused. He's not only is Simple good at killing, but you can see he's also just, he's got a really good understanding of the game. It's obvious, you know, but it has to be said anyway, because he, I mean, for me this is beautiful. It's such a small detail, but he's just doing it right every time. And these things you can kind of sometimes get lazy with. That's what makes you lose games. Also notice, like, kind of common detail. So Na'Vi lose banana here. And normally when you lose banana, you have to anyway sit and wait out smokes before you can take it back and so on, because there's a lot of smoke spam. The CTs are right now getting into position and stuff, and it's hard to go through that smoke. So what are Na'Vi doing at the time where they anyway have to wait on B? Well, they're taking mid. So now Electronic has smoked long and he's burning out short. I don't actually know if he smoked long. Yeah, he did. He's burning out short, but that got turned off. So a little bit unfortunate, and Farley is playing under the roof, actually really well played by him. But it's at least like using your time valuably, that you're being forced off of playing B. Okay, well, if they're gonna take B from us, we need some map control back. So then you take mid, you know? That's kind of how Inferno works. And then, we have mid, fair enough. Now we can go back and take B after. They're still playing in the dark, they don't know where we are. Ooh, that's disgusting from Simple. That's like, just out of nowhere, he just won this round. By himself. And this round is won. There's so little the CTs can do. They are behind 2 smokes. The plane is gonna be coming in, and like Na'Vi have 2 more smokes. Also, aim at the lamp, jump throw. This one bounces off the back wall and lands perfectly small pit with the lamp. You'll see it here. Maybe when he peeks it. It's a really good smoke to learn. Let's see if I can catch it. Yeah, I couldn't, but it lands perfectly. Trust me on this. I would sort of agree that mechanically it's hard to match him, you know, he's just crazy good. But at the same time, people are talking sort of as if Simple is still like this maniac who's just doing like every round completely ludicrous stuff and so on. We haven't seen a single round of that. We're 10 rounds in a super important game We haven't seen any of that. Like, he has been really managing all his decisions so well. Even the one, like, as I said, where instead of trying to swing for the trade because he lost timing, he waits for his teammate, he gets him to molo it, he then swings together. There was another round as well where it was like, he could do something, but he decided to do something else, and it's the smart decision. It's not so crazy as people say. He used to be pretty unhinged, let's call it like that. But he has reeled it in, and that's why he's so consistent. If you're just completely insane all the time, you will not be consistent, basically. At least it's almost impossible to be like hyper consistent, and he is hyper consistent. So I will try to actually keep an eye on that. But I watched a lot of Simple demos, and what I think is so valuable is his decision making in like his split second decisions, his impulse decisions. It's like beyond anyone I've seen, basically. You can see it even. I keep referring back to it, but this round where he's like wanting to trade Boomich, he didn't swing. Like Boomich died so fast that the trade was out of the realm of possibilities, and they had still man advantage. And I don't know if it's because he knew of the molo that his teammate had, or if he was calling like, I can molo. But just the fact that he waits, that's just, it's really, really crazy good. And I will really try to highlight his like split-second decision-making in this match. But also I want to highlight when he's doing sort of something that is just so good that it's like such a good decision. And he's like really often making the smart decision. But also his team is not setting him up in too many situations where he has to really sort of make a whole lot of decisions. Like he's rarely, at least from what we've seen so far, going a lot in front. And that's when you really need to play on instinct, Now he is actually kind of playing entry here. And he almost goes down for it. So, like, this is actually also a great example of what I just said. You see him now, he's actually the one fighting for the map control. And now he's 3 HP and he hasn't seen anyone. You could argue he has played poorly or made bad decisions. I mean, he's fighting for banana. Someone has to do it, But it's him. And the reason it's not him every round and also not him so often is because you don't want your simple to start on 3 HP every round. So, and if he was the guy doing this every time, he would not be consistent. Because if you go down to 3 HP every round, it's not possible to have insanely crazy stats. But he probably gets a flash down, kills Blame if, and then it doesn't matter, right? That's what players should do. I think he's really good. Oh my god, what a ridiculous shot. Okay, now you just know how Simple is tuned in. He's gonna kill this guy as well, right? Surely. Oh. Okay. That guy is so afraid he smokes himself out. But he started on 11 kills, right? They're 4-11 down, so he needs a bit of a resurgence, but he has honestly had a really strong half. He had massive impact in the rounds that they won, and like just overall, he had a lot of damage in all rounds. And now it's like, this is what a good Inferno AWP player notices. If the other team doesn't play an AWP, you have so much freedom to peek. And that's what he's doing now. He's like holding angles, but before this flash he wanted to actually peek. He doesn't know for sure they don't have an AWP, but since they lost pistol, it's pretty safe to say that it's probably the case that they are playing full AKs. And that's something that Simple can abuse. If the angle is not being held by another AWP, you can do so much more. I'm really interested to see the CT side from Simple. I believe he's the best CT side Inferno player in the world. He's always so strong. Gets the entry here. Could have had a second. Could have honestly had a third. With how close those bullets were. And now... Oh my god, he legged him no-scope through the box. It's pretty nice. He is honestly making the good decisions, the right decisions. And so, like, watching this, I didn't know that I was gonna do this today, but I actually want to kill the narrative a little bit. As Simple is, like, the most crazy and... he is pretty unpredictable. He can be. But only in certain rounds, and most of the time, overall, he's not. It's not like I'm sitting here saying he is predictable. But what I'm saying is that if you had an AI who is, like, sitting and acting as a Simple, who has all the stats. He knows the opponent's HP, the weapons, the positions, the every fucking thing, you know. They would act like him. Or at least they would very closely resemble him. And if you have that sort of playstyle, which the best players always do, you know. The best players are always the ones that make the right decisions more often than not. That makes sense. But what is the right decision? Well, the right decision is a lot of the time not jumping through a smoke with no flash and stuff like that. And you don't see that. At least in this demo. We haven't seen much of that. So, like, I'm trying to kill this narrative that simply is, like, unhinged and out of control and super unpredictable. He is unpredictable. But if it was an AI that would predict the best move in a certain situation, he would be predictable, if you can say it like that. He does, I would say, not get let off, but people just ignore those rounds because they think he is like some unhinged demon that just only has one word in his mind, and that's go. When in reality, like, we see it here, he takes a shot blind, falls back, takes a new angle. Okay, what... Actually, this is... Let's just try to predict, actually, what he's gonna do. He gets smoked off now by Config. There's two things he can do, right? 24 seconds on the clock. He knows most likely that they're 3 long. That's like the normal split. This smoke tells him they're not going B. So this smoke tells him that they are going A. But what normally happens, even with pretty low time, is that there's always someone holding their smoke. So most likely now, like an unhinged guy would see the smoke, see the timer, and it could work, honestly, maybe that's even what he's gonna do, is like push through the smoke and try to disrupt them while they're trying to run into the side because the timer's low. But I think what we will see is him rotating, like taking one shot through the smoke, rotating library. We see it. You see? He is not this unhinged demon. This actually, I love it that I predicted exactly the smoke shot as well. But like, now he's not smoke library, he can way better play these angles. Okay, he does actually get smoke library. There's a little bit of a gap, but this one he will push through, most likely. The AI tells me he will push through this one. I think actually the bomb is going back, or not. No. So like, this one he will push through eventually, because now he has to. They know he's library, and like, he will have to push through this very soon. Oh, okay, there's a gap. So in this case he doesn't have to, because the library smoke is fake. But otherwise he would have. So that's also like, what you should be doing as a player. If you want to learn from Simple, because he is the best player, and I mean, there were some people in my chat saying you can't learn from Simple. I think I'm learning already myself personally a ton from watching this. I have a completely changed sort of mindset, because the way he plays, it's maximizing. He's maximizing his potential and his like impact, and that's like super obvious. Like, oh, you want to maximize your potential and your impact, but he's like, some people think maximizing your potential and your impact is running in trying to take gunfights all the time. There's a lot of people that play like that and face it, but it isn't, you know. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Here he wanted to go for, like, again, he wanted to go for a peek, but they were spamming through the smoke. He gives it up. Good decision. Now instead he nades in the smoke. Boom, huge nade. Would he have done this damage if he went for the peek? Probably not. He probably would have died through the smoke. I've definitely, when I was younger, played matches where I was like going up against an AWP player who I was sort of not afraid to play against, but like I feared him a little bit. And what you have a tendency to do is like, I want to peek B. But he will know that. I'm gonna go Eps. But he's probably holding. Or like, I'm gonna hold here. He will probably peek somewhere else. Stuff like that, you know, where you're like, I did that when I was younger a lot. Like, when I played against someone who I sort of feared a little bit, or I viewed as much better, I would be like losing the mental game to myself, being like, feeling very caged, because I was like, but this guy is so good that he probably knows everything I'm doing. And at that moment you've lost, you know. So like, the top players, they don't do that. So I don't think you will have like a Brokey or whatever who's like sitting there saying to himself in the match like, now Simple has to kind of give up the angle, because eventually they could come and peek him from second mid, and it can be a little bit of a hard duel. Having the discipline when you know you're having a good game is also super hard. That is true. And sometimes I feel like if you're having a really good game, you shouldn't have the discipline, always. Sometimes you have that confidence that just allows you to destroy. Lol, what the fuck? He knifed his teammate. What the fuck? It's 12-12 in map 3, bro. His teammate jumps in front of the Molo, he knifes him. Basically every round right now, when Assaults have low money, Navi do a deep smoke in mid, then Simple is like using his nade in the smoke basically, and then he's falling back to take passive angles because he knows he's gonna get run down most likely. So now, okay, this was a horrible flash. Now he's like running all the way back CT and playing from here. Now he gets smoked off. We see it again probably. He's gonna get smoked, he's gonna take a shot, he's gonna go library. Yeah. Now someone pushes through the smoke, and now he's gonna play fast. But look, now he's allowed to have impact again, you know. Bit obviously kills himself in his own Molo. What a fucking shot by Benya, by the way. Played a big part. Whoa, kill him, Simple. Bit just headshotted you. What the f***? Are you just gonna let him do that? I'm kidding. Great demo to watch. Holy shit. It has awakened something in me, guys. Spiritually, but also sexually.